impossible. Never stop turning. Friday's disappointment. The Sunday's empty too. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the phrase, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Resurrection power runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. If God can do something with dry bones, how much can he do with flesh and bones? Sing this next part out, because he's able to do way more through us. My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore any things that he wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can't do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move. I feel him moving it now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing it now. Do it now. Do it now. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the phrase, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live, sing it. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. I hear the sound. Hear the sound. I hear the sound. Hear the sound. I hear the sound. Hear the sound. I hear the sound. You sing live, I sing live. Come on. Live, live. Dry bones in the word of the Lord. Live, Jesus, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm running out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm running out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm running out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Swell of anticipation as we believe anything can happen. Do you believe that? I feel it in my bones, I feel it on my skin. Heaven's closer than it's ever been, so let it rain. Drown in the joy of heaven. Every stronghold will break in the healer's presence. I feel it in my bones, I feel it on my skin. Heaven's closer than it's ever been, so let it rain. Let heaven fall, let heaven fall. We want it all. Let heaven fall, let heaven fall. We want it all. Your freedom, your joy,
Hey, what's up, Church Online family?
Everybody?
I'm so glad.
Hey, y'all
you're
sitting
joining
way
us
too early.
again
No, I'm just
this
kidding. Y'all sit down.
week.
Hey, welcome to Church with You. If we haven't met before, my name's Eric, and me and my
You're
wife,
here
Sharon,
with
we get
us,
the privilege of
and
being
we
the
are so
pastors
grateful
here.
for that.
And, man, we just want to welcome
And
you,
we wanna
especially
get
if
to
this
know
is
you.
your first
So please,
time
like I've said,
with
like we
us,
always
because
say,
here's the deal. We
fill
know
out
what
an
it's like to
online
walk
Connect
into a brand new
card.
place for the
Guys, you
first
can
time.
click on Connect card
And
at the top of your screen or in the live chat. Go ahead and just fill out that information, and I promise you, we are not going to do anything weird with it, okay? Like, we have the hassle-free guarantee. We are not going to sell your information. We are not going to email you a million times. We're not going to text you off the wall. We just want to write you a letter at the beginning of the week and say thank you. Thank you for joining us in our online community. It means the world to us. We're going to transition into a time of giving. Now, your generosity, it is unbelievable. One thing about Church with You that's always been unbelievable is how generous our people are. We have been able to do everything we do debt-free. Yes, we are 6 years old. We have zero debt, and that is because of your generosity. Now, that's awesome and all, but what it allows us to do is serve our communities and serve our church members more and more because we don't have something hanging over our head, and that's a big deal, and we thank you for your generosity. Now, we're gonna go ahead and jump into another song. Get up, stand up. Come on, let's get into this thing.
you lost a battle, feeling like by the end of the year, it's just a wash. You can't get anything back. You might as well just call it a loss and just try and make it through the end of the year. But Jesus has already fought the battle. He's already won it. He's already gone ahead. You don't have to feel like you're trudging through mud to get through the end of the year. You can claim victory. Wake up every morning and claim it. Speak it over yourself, over your family, over whatever you're going through. Because no battle is ever lost when we reach out and we cry out for the name of Jesus. You never lost a battle. You never lost a battle.
You never lost a battle. You never will. You never lost a battle. You never lost a battle. You never lost a battle. You never will. You never will. You never lost a battle. You never lost a battle. You never lost a battle. You never will.
Now let's do up this morning. Thank you guys. Y'all have a seat and enjoy church news.
So, first things first. All right, so what's up, church, with you? Got a little bit of laryngitis, but it's okay because I feel like Scott Cochran. Roll Tide, yeah! No, but guys, prayer time is awesome. I would encourage everyone to do that, especially if you come to the first service, because prayer time's at 8:30 every Sunday. And, I think, you got anyone from Tyler to Eric to AJ to Stephen. They're giving you some really encouraging words on top of Pastor Eric's message for the day. So if you're able to, please come to prayer time. Now, you 11 o'clockers, get your butt up and come to 8:30 prayer time service. Just because you get to connect with people and hang out in the foyer.
The what?
Hang out in the foyer.
The foyer?
Yeah. What is it? Is it foyer?
It's a lobby. You can't call it a foyer.
Okay. Hang out in the lobby, not the foyer. So we have a huge date. That date is November 22nd. Cheyenne, tell them why that date is so important. No, I'm just joking. See, I came prepared. That date is so important, whether you like it or not. Ozark, last Sunday, is that day.
Nope.
What?
That's their first Sunday in the new building. This Sunday is their last Sunday.
Okay. All right, so what that means is from now until that Sunday, we need all hands on deck. If you can push a broom, we need you there. If you can, nail a nail with a hammer, we need you there. If you know the difference between a Phillips and a flathead, we need you there. All right, also, November 22nd, guys, we are having Bam Bam baptisms.
Bam Bam.
So what that means to you is first service or second service, both locations, we are going to have baptisms. Baby child dedication. No, baby child dedication, November 6th, okay? That's going on both campuses.
December 6th.
Yeah, December 6th, y'all know what I mean. Sit back and relax and get ready for week 2 of, I try and do a good job of listening whenever my pastor is preaching. Making change.
Oh, yeah. Hey, real quick, how many of you saw that thing where the family, the kid's sliding down the slide, and it says he made a budget, and then it says she thinks budgets are hot? Did y'all see that? Those of you who are laughing, you watched it. Thanks for paying attention. Those of you who didn't, you need to watch what we put together, okay? Spend time on that. Hey, welcome to Church with You, everybody. My name's Eric, and man, I'm just grateful that you're here. You ready for today? Today, week 2 of Making Change, and if you're new with us, man, we are one church that meets in multiple locations. So we have our Enterprise campus, we got our Ozark campus, and we got our Church Online campus. So wherever you're at, whatever location, put your hands together. Let's welcome everybody to church this morning. Hey, we love you guys. So grateful, man, that we get to make a difference in multiple cities, in multiple states, in multiple countries now with Church Online, just from the little city of Enterprise, Alabama. Who would know? Who would think that that's even possible? But I'm ready for today. If you missed last week, go back, check it out on the app, because we started a series called Making Change. And really, there's 2 parts. There's 2 working parts that have to work together to make this series go off and accomplish what we want it to accomplish. First part is really its vision for the church. So we had a lot of vision. We share a lot of vision. And we shared some of it last week. If you missed last week and some of the vision that we shared, here's a couple things. We have a goal of launching 2 more physical locations in 2 more cities by the year 2024. Come on, how many of you know we got some work to do? Got some work to do. But we've seen the difference. We've seen what starting a location in Enterprise does in the lives that it changes. We've seen the difference that it makes in the city of Ozark. And how cool is it to be a part of something and know that you're a part of something that goes into a brand new city that makes the impact in that city and people's lives the same way that the campus that you're at has made a difference in yours. Man, I'm just grateful to be a part of that. So that's vision. Then we shared last week, if you didn't get the cool news, exciting news, especially for our Enterprise campus, we are in active talks right now with a couple of people on securing our permanent home, everybody. So the details for that, I can't share with that yet. We're not ready for that yet, but we're actively talking because we lease this space. This space isn't ours. And to accomplish the goals that we see and the things that we think that God has put in front of us as a church to accomplish, I think we need a home base. Like to be able to train people the way we need to train them, to be able to equip them the way we need to equip them, to send out campus pastors, to start a new location. Come on, we need a home base for that. And we're 6 years old as a church right now. I don't necessarily know that that's time, but good thing is we got a year and something left on the lease. Come on, somebody. That's cool. So I want you to know that we're actively going, but we're not ready to share details on it quite yet. But what we are doing and what we are ready for is for you and for me to get to a place where we're going, hey, how can I get involved? How can I make it happen? How can I do something to make sure that we're ready when it's time to jump, that I can have a part to play in us taking the step and making the leap of faith? Like, what can I do? So all of this really from a church perspective, from the church working part of this series is leading up to this date right here. You need to put that in your calendar. December 13th, which is our Thrive offering. We don't do offerings all throughout the year. We do one offering at the end of the year, and it is for expansion. Right? So here's the deal. We got way more vision than we got resources. And what these dates give you is opportunities once a year at the end of the year to go, hey, listen, what's on the table? I want to make it happen. And you, if you call Church with You home, to be a part of accelerating the vision. And we'll go as fast as you want to go. We'll go as slow as you want to go. Whichever way, it doesn't really matter, right? But this gives us opportunities to jump in and go, hey, we're going to make a difference in that. Now, here's what I know that this word does to people. It's like we picked the wrong Sunday to come to church. That's what it does for people, because people have been in churches before that maybe have abused this thing. They don't steward it well. Let me just go ahead and tell you, we try to steward the best we can. Everything we've done up to this point, we've done debt-free across both locations, Church Online, all of it together. So we try to steward it in that way. So we're not going to try to pull something over your eyes and do all that. But here's what I got. When we were talking about the offering, I know how it makes people feel. So when I was going, okay, how do we start the service? I want to start the service where we get everybody together. Everybody's fired up. Like we leave here and we're going, man, yeah, let's change the world. Like I want us all to have understanding and clear vision and clarity on it all. And as I was reading and thinking through that's being my goal, I came across the verse that I think puts great understanding to that, and it gives great clarity to that. And King Solomon says it in Ecclesiastes chapter 11. This is what he says right here. He says, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. How many of you know that brings great understanding and great clarity? It doesn't. If you understood that just by reading it for the first time, your IQ level is through the roof, and you're like you should be on the stage. Are you following? Like when I read that, I found out two things. Two things ran through my mind. I found out that Solomon loves ducks, because that's what it looks like. It looks like he's feeding ducks, and he loves that. The other thing that I thought about is who wants soggy bread? I don't like soggy bread. If it's on the water, I ain't eating it. Just not. That's how I read it. So when I read that verse, I was like, okay, that's my thoughts. But when I looked a little closer, I realized that it's not a verse about feeding ducks, and it's not a verse about you eating soggy bread. Because back in Solomon's day, Israel, really even to this day, Israel can grow anything. They're an agricultural thing. Like God's got his hand on that. They can grow. You put something in the ground and it grows. Like I don't know why, but that's just how God's blessed that part of the world, right? So that back in Solomon's day, they kind of experimented with wheat, and they planted it, and all of a sudden they had a ton of it. Like it grew incredibly, a whole bunch. So they got to a place where he's like, okay, so if we have this and people need that, people have something else that we need, or people have something else that we want, so how about we just trade that? So let's put this wheat on a ship and send it across the ocean so that it can go to other countries, so that it can bring back stuff that we need or want. Let's trade. So what Solomon did is he built a shipping empire. So he says when it cast your bread upon the waters, he's saying, hey, throw the wheat on the ship, send it across the ocean, let's go trade for something that we actually want, and after many days, it will return to you with the stuff that you have traded for. Is that making more sense? When I read that, I was like, oh, that's a great verse. Because I think that speaks to us, because what Solomon says, he says, hey, if you want something coming back in, something's got to go out. And here's what I know about sending ships on the ocean. Nothing. I've never done that, never been a part of doing that. But what I can understand is there's a lot that can go wrong in the process. Like if a storm comes up, it can sink your ship, and then all your product is gone. You have nothing to trade. Right? Then you got pirates. Right? They're coming after you. They can steal your stuff. You won't have anything to trade then. Like there's a lot that can go wrong. And what Solomon's saying in that verse is he's going, hey, there's a little bit of risk if you want a little bit of reward. And I think that speaks to us as a church, especially when it comes to December 13th. Hey, I want to see more people reach with the message of Jesus. Come on, I want to see more marriages that are on the brink of divorce, healed, thriving more than they've ever thrived before. I want to see more people in debt up to their eyeballs go, you know what, I'm going to manage this the way God wants me to. I'm going to get free from some of that. I want to see more addictions broken. Come on, I want to see more lives healed in the power in the name of Jesus. Come on, that's what I want to see. So if that's the reward, how many of you know there's a little bit of risk that's involved? And when the offering comes up, there's a little bit of risk in that. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know. If I give this away, I won't feel that sense of security. I know what everybody's thinking because I think the same thing. But if we want to see it come in, then at some point we got to risk something. Right? So we want you to know about December 13th way before December 13th. Because if you meet me in the hallway and you're like, hey, Pastor Eric, I want to pick your brain. What do you think about this? You're not going to get the best answer. Because I didn't have time to think about it. Are you following me? So we want the same thing when it comes to your resources and when it comes for you asking God, hey, how do you want me to be a part? What do you want me to do? Right? So that's the first part of making change, is we want to get our hearts prepared and ready so that we can be a part of that. The second part of making change is personal and individual finances. Because there's more divorces over money than there are over anything else. And I believe people are barely surviving when it comes to money, and I don't think it's ever been God's plan for his kids to just survive. Right? I think it's been God's plan for his kids to thrive. So the way that we've set up this whole series is really based on this verse, right? Well, not verse, but this statement right here. Thriving financially tomorrow starts by making change today. Right? That's the goal. When it comes to personal finances, thriving financially tomorrow starts by making some change today. All right, making some change today. And that's what we've been talking about over this series. We're really going to look at 4 changes that we can make in our life. Last week we looked at the first one, which is less is more. How many of you know when it comes to financial burdens and financial debt, less is always... Come on, we got 3 people in Enterprise. Debt is better when you have more of it. No, less is more, right? Here's what I know is you've never heard and I've never heard somebody say, you know what, my marriage is going great now since we're up to our eyeballs in debt. Like we used to fight all the time. When we didn't know anybody, anything, we used to have money fights all the time. But now we have debt, and it is incredible. My marriage is thriving more now than it's ever thrived before. Never heard anybody say that. I've never heard anybody say, I love making payments to that high-interest credit card. I've never heard that. Never. I've never heard that. But what you have heard people say, and what you have said, and what I have said at some points in our life is, man, I wish I could give more and help people who need something, but I just can't because I need every dime of what we got coming in. What I have heard people say is, man, I wish that I could stay home with the kids, but that's just not financially possible right now. What I have heard people say is, man, I wish I could just travel, but I can't travel because we have no discretionary income, so therefore we're staying at the house. When I have heard that. I have heard people say my marriage is falling apart because he spent or she spent. And we can't get our minds together when it comes to money. I have heard that. But can I tell you, thriving financially tomorrow starts by making a little bit of change today, right? So we talked about less is more last week. Here's what we're nailing down today. Here's the topic, is financial stress is bad. Because financial stress impacts every single area of your life. Every single area of your life. If you have financial stress on your life, you have every bit of your life, every area, every filter, every nook and cranny. Come on, you heard that before? Every nook and cranny of your life is impacted by the financial stress that you have. So less is more last week. Financial stress is bad this week. Now, here's the reason why I think that a lot of us have a problem when it comes to talking about financial stress and debt and spending and all that, is because every single one of us is emotionally tied to this situation and this subject. Are we not? Come on, how many of you have ever made, at every location, how many of you have ever made a stupid financial decision? Hands up. We got some liars in the room. We're going to wait for them, for them to put their hand up too. Listen, all of us have. Like and here's the reason I got to thinking, why do we make those decisions? And most of the time, it's just because we don't have a complete understanding of money. And I don't mean any disrespect by that. And I don't mean, listen, I made a 17 on my ACT, everybody. I ain't calling you dumb. Listen, I'm just saying we don't have an understanding because maybe you grew up in a household where your parents didn't teach you the effects of money and what it does to you. Maybe you went to school and you went to high school, and for the majority of high schools, they don't teach you how to manage money and the effects that it has on your life either. So then you graduate high school, you get a job, you start making a little bit, or you graduate high school, you go to college. Guess what they don't do in college? They don't tell you how to manage money or how to process that. They don't tell you how to do all that in college. So you graduate with a degree, you get out, you get a job, you're making some money. Then all of a sudden, you figure out, just like everybody else has figured out, how money works, but you figured it out the hard way. Is you made the decision. You jumped off, and you look back, and you're like, man, if I had that to do over again, I never would have taken that step. I never would have done it. And you figured out the hard way what the Bible told you from the beginning. Watch what Proverbs 22 says. It says this. It says, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. And because maybe we didn't have that understanding to begin with, we figured this out the hard way. Because let me just tell you, when you owe people money, guess what you are to them? You are a slave to them. And it doesn't matter if you're a follower of Jesus in here or not. Here's what I know, is nobody wants to be in a position where I have something that is really not mine, but I owe you for it, and I become your slave. Nobody wants that. Nobody does. But we live in a culture to where, you got to have a car payment. You got to live in a house and have a house payment. You got to go out and have a little bit of credit card debt because every now and then you see some stuff that you want. You just can't afford it at the time. You swipe. You got to have, and we live in a culture that's defined like that. But can I tell you, financial stress is bad. It's bad. And it'll rip your life apart. And it'll rip your marriage apart. And nobody wants to be a slave to anybody. Come on, think about the culture we're in right now. Nobody wants to be a slave to anybody. Everybody wants freedom. We want freedom. I don't want you to tell me what I need to do and have to do. I don't want to feel pinned in. Come on, you can see it all over social media, especially in the climate that we live in right now. Hey, you're not going to take my freedom? You're going to take my stuff? Because we don't like being slaves to anything. So why do we fight for our guns, we fight for our rights, we fight for our freedoms, but we don't fight for our finances? See, we fight for everything else, but when it comes to finances, we're like, guess we're just going to owe people the rest of our life. And just imagine for just a minute. I know that it's probably not feasible for a lot of you, but just imagine just a second if you didn't owe anybody anything. Nothing. Like you looked at your budget and your spending, and the only thing that you see going out are your utilities, your water and your power, maybe your internet, and maybe some kids' activities that you let them be a part of. And you're like, man, don't nobody own me. Come on, can you imagine the freedom that comes with that? Can you imagine if that's where you lived and you didn't owe anybody anything and an air conditioner breaks at your house? You're not going, I got to sell a kid. Like right now, I have no other way to pay for that. I got to sell a kid. I hear that they're going for really expensive prices on eBay. I got to get rid of them right now. Right now. Instead of being like that, you could get to a place where you're going, I mean, I hate that it went out, and I don't like spending the money, but write the check because I ain't living in a high house. Like, it's going to be December, and it's going to be 90 degrees. We have it in AC. Come on, it's happening. Right? Well, just think about the freedom. Think about the freedom if you didn't owe anybody anything and you got 2 weeks off of vacation. You know the problem that you'll have? Is where to go. Is it the beach? Is it the mountains? Is it out west? Where are we going? What are we doing? It's not, oh, we can't go anywhere because we ain't got nothing. Because everybody else, we owe everybody else everything. Come on, is this hitting close to home? Come on, I just believe that God wants something better for his kids to be a slave to the lender. He wants them to live free and have life to the fullest. And I want to help us with that for the rest of our time together. But you know what the problem is? The problem is this little word right here. Self-control. I don't know why it's doing that. That's pretty cool. That says self-control. Self-control. How many of you know we all got a little kid on the inside of us? Come on, how many of you have ever had kids before? Ever had them? Ever had kids? Okay. So as like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, if they don't get what they want when they want it, how do they act? The same way you and I do when we want something and we ain't got the money for it. Oh, we'll pay that off later. Swipe it. Be good. Come on, there's a little kid in every single one of us, is there not? It's like, but I want it now. Like, I want that now. Just now. How many of you know we got to tame the little kid on the inside of us? We got to get to a place where we're going, hey, kid, hey, you don't know enough? You don't have enough understanding? You don't have enough vision for the future? Like, just trust me. I got a little bit more wisdom because I lived a little bit longer. Come on, there's a little kid on the inside of us. And at some point, we got to get it under control, and we got to have some self-control. We got to have some self-control. Proverbs says it like this. Look at this verse. It says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. You know what happens to a city whose walls have been broken through? They're vulnerable to every attack. You know what happens to a person who has no self-control? You're vulnerable to marketing. I'm going to pick on ladies for a minute because I ain't one. So that makes it easy. So ladies, like you're vulnerable to marketing, are you not? Did you see that sale they got going? And then you go and you buy some stuff, and then you come home and it's like, but do you know how much money I saved? Come on, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm not stereotyping, but for real. When you go, you see these earrings are on sale. Oh, they're look cute. Let me get those. That's awesome. Hey, that bracelet's for sale too. They match. That's all. But now they match. Now I need an outfit. Well, I'm gonna go to the clearance rack because I ain't paying full price because you know I'm frugal. Right? And then you go on and you buy your outfit, and then you buy your outfit and you got your earrings and your bracelet, and you're like, but I ain't got no shoes. Go to the clearance section of the shoes, and you come home and you're like, guess how much money I saved. And you sink the ship little bit by little bit. Men, you're not like that. You sink it all at one time. Come on. Do it not? Come on. It's like, I just bought a boat. It's great. And a truck to pull it, because all I had was cars. So now we're like $150,000 in debt. We sunk it with one decision. See, we don't beat around the bush. If you're going to do it big, then you need to do it big, okay? I'm just kidding. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it at all. But at some point, you get to a place where you look around at what you're spending, and you're like, man, I need a little bit of self-control. So I want to help us with something, and we're going to try to learn this. We're going to try to repeat this. And if you don't get anything else out of today, here's what I want you to get, is we're going to learn how to say no for a little while so you can say yes for the rest of your life. We're going to learn how to say no for a little while so we can say yes for the rest of our life. So what's this look like? I don't know. Maybe it's I like to get my nails done once a week. Maybe say no for a little while, and it's once a month, so that at some point you can say yes to weekly nails for the rest of your life. And not only just for you, you can take your friends out and you can pay for theirs as well. Or what's that look like? Maybe you like to play golf. You like to play once a month. You like to go to the good course. You like to drive to the great place. And because I can't putt on those greens, because if they ain't good, then I ain't scoring good, and I can't have that. I'm going to go to the legit place, right? And then you go, and then at some point you got to say no for a little while so that you can say yes for the rest of your life. So no to once a month, maybe once every 3 months, maybe once every 6 months. Are you going to be good playing at that rate? No. You will not. But at some point, you'll be able to say yes for the rest of your life, and you will have a score in the 70s. Come on, somebody. We ain't got any golfers? All right, that's fine. That's cool. Here's what I'm just saying. I'm saying at some point, we got to make a decision to tell the little 2-3-year-old toddler in our heart, hey, listen, you don't run this. Come on, how many of you have to do that in your personal life, at your house, when your kids are that little? Hey, you do not run the house. I do not care what you think. You do not. I am the boss. Right, at some point, we got to tell ourselves that and go, hey, you need to get your life in order. But I think the reason that we struggle with that is because we don't know and understand the long-term effects of money. So I just want to put it to you in a nutshell real quick. So as we're learning how to say no for a little while so we can say yes for the rest of our life. Come on, say this with me. Every location, we're going to learn how to say no for a little while so we can say yes for the rest of our life. Come on, as we're learning that, let me put it in a nutshell with you. The average American right now, just from a Google search, I didn't search a ton for it, just from a little Google search, the average household credit card debt is $16,000. All right, so I want to put something on here, and I want to show you. This is the effects of money, okay? If you owe $16,000 and you pay $250 a month at 17.99% interest, it's going to take you 18 years to pay off that credit card. 18 years. And you'll pay a total of $37,000 in interest, and your total payoff for the whole deal, $53,000. You ain't got to be a follower of Jesus to know that ain't good math. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody. But we get here because we have no self-control. We say yes now, and because of our yes now, we'll actually have to say no for the rest of our life. Because we just paid $53,000 for $16,000 of stuff that we don't even have anymore. See, now let's bring a little life. That was Debbie Downer right there. Let's bring a little life. Let's throw up the next one. If just say you don't owe $16,000 on a credit card, okay? But you have $16,000 cash in your pocket. Okay? That's a large amount of money, but just say you have it. Okay, if you took that $16,000, you invested it at 8% return, which is kind of what we're getting right now, for 18 years, you'd have this, $64,000. If you left it in there for 30 years, you'd have $161,000. Some of your jaws just hit the floor. I didn't know that's how it works. That's how it works. So instead of paying $53,000 for $16,000 worth of stuff, you just paid $16,000, invested nothing more. You left it in there for 30 years, and now you got $161,000. See how money works against you and for you? So let's take it a step further and just say you had $16,000 that you could invest in something, but you used to have $16,000 of credit card debt, and you used to make a $250 payment. So now you're going to invest that $16,000, and you're going to invest $250 a month, with that. Look at what this is. $16,000, you invest $250 a month, 8% return for 18 years, you got $180,000. You leave it in for 30 years, and you got $500,000. You know, that's impossible. Impossible. Let me tell you, if you're a student, can I tell you if you're a student for a second? If you're 16, 17, you start working and have a summer job, and you take $2,000 a year when you're 16, 17, and 18, and you put it in a mutual fund, so you put $6,000 total over 3 years into a mutual fund, and you leave it until you're 65, guess what you got? $1 million. How many of you know we need a little bit more self-control? We need a little bit more self-control. Because maybe it does matter how we manage and steward our resources. Maybe it does matter because the God of the universe sent a son for you and sent a son for me. And he entrusted us with not only financial stuff, but he entrusted us with salvation. And the way that we treat salvation is seen in how we treat everything else around us. So maybe it does matter how we steward. Maybe it does matter how we're faithful. That God has been faithful to us day in and day out. Maybe it does matter that we make a decision in our hearts to go, you know what, God, since you're faithful to me, I'll be faithful to you. Maybe we do make a decision in our life. Maybe it does matter when we go, hey, God, you gave your best for me. I'm going to give my best for you. How do you want me to be involved? What do you want me to do? Help me. Help me get my little kid self under control so that we can actually make a difference in this life with people. Instead of owing a whole bunch of money for junk I don't even have anymore, show me how to invest in your kingdom so that I can look around at marriages that were restored by your power, and I can go, I had a part to play in that. Come on, you shortchange yourself so much. Your generosity has so much impact. And you just think you're giving stuff, but can I tell you, every marriage that's restored, every addiction that's broken, every heart that's mended, every yes to relationship with Jesus, you had a part to play in it. You had a part to play in it. And at some point, we got to get ourselves under control so that we can go, God, you gave us everything anyway, and it's all yours anyway. Thanks for letting us have a little. Thanks for taking care of us. Can I tell you, if that changed our heart, how many of you know that changed our life? And thriving financially tomorrow would start by making a little change today and going, hey, I'm going to get myself under control. And maybe your whole deal isn't financial self-control. Maybe it's spiritual self-control. Maybe you think you can do it all on your own. Maybe you think you don't need him. Maybe you don't think you don't need the cross. You don't need salvation. You don't need all that stuff. You can do it all on your own. Maybe you got enough money to take care of yourself. Maybe you got enough stuff that you don't need anything. Like you've worked everything you got. You worked and you did it on your own. And I don't need that. Can I tell you that little bit of self-control or lack thereof? We got to get it under control because everything you have was given to you by your Father who loves you. You wouldn't have breath in your lungs if it wasn't for him breathing into you every single day. You wouldn't have energy to stand if he didn't give you the courage to take on the day. You wouldn't have the strength in your legs to walk if he didn't put it there. Everything we have was given to us by him. And can I tell you, he gave his kid for you. If you're in here and you've never said yes to a relationship with Jesus at either of our locations, man, let me just say, he gave his son for you. He gave everything he had for you. He gave it all. And you and I can't have life apart from it. The Bible says, for the wages of sin is death. But then Jesus said, but I came to take your sin and to give you brand new life. And not only just life, but life to the fullest. Come on, if you're not experiencing life to the fullest today, could it be that you don't have a relationship with Jesus? So at either of our locations, the band can come up. We're going to turn it over to our campus pastor, and they're going to walk you through a response time. If you've never said yes to a relationship with Jesus, today is the day that you get your spiritual self under control and submit it to the person who gave us life for you. And when you do that, you'll walk away with brand new life today, purchased by the blood of Jesus on the cross. Won by him coming back to life from death, walking out of a tomb, defeating sin, death, hell, and the grave for you, so that you could walk free from everything that once bound you. Come on, this isn't just about financial bondage. It's more spiritual than you may think. It's spiritual bondage. We act away because we think away, and we think away because we experience away. And if you haven't experienced Jesus yet, then you don't know the right way to think, and you don't know the right things to do. So today, walk into a relationship with Jesus. At every location, we're going to turn it over to our campus pastors. And with every head bowed, every eye closed here in Enterprise, I'm going to turn that, I'm going to lead you guys through it. Right here, if you've never said yes to a relationship with Jesus, right now is the moment. So we're going to count to 3. In the moment that we hit 3, all I want you to do is just lift your hand up, just right where you are. We're not going to call you forward, not going to make you stand, but if you can say, like, boldly to yourself, you've never said yes today, you've never surrendered, today is the day that you need to get your spiritual self under control. If that's your mind and if that's your heart telling you right now, can I tell you, it's the Holy Spirit trying to work in you to make you make a decision today to walk out of here, not in bondage that you came in with, but in freedom that Jesus bought for you. And if that's your hand, if that's your heart, I just want to see it on the count of 3. You ready? Just keep them up on the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Right now, just lift them up. Lift them up. Keep them up for just a second. Lift them up. I'm going to lead you in a prayer. There's nothing special about that. What's special is how you mean it from your heart to God. It's the decision that you make today. Just say right there under your breath, in your seat, say, Jesus, I need you. Come into my life and forgive me. Separate my sin as far as the east is from the west. I surrender to you today. I die to myself. I lay down my life so that I can pick up the one that you bought for me. And can I tell you, if you prayed that prayer today, if that was your hand, if that was your heart, the Bible says that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe that God raised him from the dead, if you believe that in your heart, then you will be saved. You're walking out of here a brand new person. So come on, church, can we put our hands together for all the hands, for all the decisions? Not just here, but Ozark, Church Online. Man, people are making decisions, and man, I'm grateful to be a part of it. So, hey, listen, how many of you are ready? You ready to get yourself under control? I'm ready to go. I don't want to owe $53,000 for something I don't even have. It was worth $16,000. I don't want to do that. I want to manage it. I want to steward it the best way I can for the rest of my life. But that's not only in my finances. How many of you know that's in my spiritual life too? I want to manage and steward my personal life so that I can honor God the best way that I can. So go ahead, stand to your feet. We're going to sing this out. One more time. We're going to close it with a declaration to our own self that if we're not dead, then he ain't done. Come on. Until we run out of breath, then we ain't going to stop praising. Until he comes back, we're not going to stop following. We're going to do everything we can to steward our resources, our life, our minds, our emotions. We're going to steward it the best way we can so that we can honor God with it all. Because he gave us best for us, so how many of you know it's our best? We're giving back to him. So come on, church, sing this out. Believe it with everything that you got this morning.
Our lungs run out of breath, that our praises never end, till we're in over our heads. We want it all, we want it all. Till our lungs run out of breath, our praises never end, till we're in over our heads. We want it all, we want it all. Till our lungs run out of
Thank you, Pastor Eric. Thank you, everybody, for coming, joining us this Sunday. We will see you again next Sunday. Have a great week.